Okay, we're here to record our reaction to my interview earlier with Karen Davila's Headstart. Just a heads up, the interview was a bit choppy because of technology. So we had feedback issues, we had signal issues. Yeah, but hopefully you pick up something from the conversation. So yeah, let's do this. Here we go. Let's listen in.
He's the founder of cybersecurity experts group, Data Ethics Philippines. All right, thank you so much.
Yeah, people are gonna ask, does data ethics really do cybersecurity? Cybersecurity is just one of the many things we do. Just to be very clear, we look at the entire data value chain from data sourcing all the way to data storage, to the analysis of the data, and then the implementation. So security is actually just one vertical. Just to be very clear to anyone who might want to know.
Dominic, good morning to you.
Morning, Karen.
All right, Dominic, why is this happening now? Why government entities, one after the other?
Well, first and foremost, I don't know if people are aware, this is Cybersecurity Month, so which is very ironic.
Yeah, happy Cybersecurity Month, guys.
From what we can tell, there's at least two kinds of hackers.
Feedback is really bad.
We don't know for sure. For example, the Medusa hack of PhilHealth, that was it was a ransomware group. They're really after the money. While the latest hacks from PSA, I think PNP, DOST, and then recently the House of Representatives, at least based on what we can tell, there hasn't been a ransom demanded yet. So it seems to be more alongside what we're calling hacktivism. They're trying to make a point. For example, the House of Representatives had a message that they said you have to secure your systems. So we're trying to figure out if this is some form of hacktivism to show how badly the government is doing in terms of their cybersecurity.
Clearly.
That's quite interesting that you define two kinds. But I wanted to ask you, the budget is also being heard right now for confidential and intelligence funds. Are you seeing a pattern here for government entities to lobby that they need the confidential funds?
Well, yeah, I think that's one speculation that's floating around. The hacks are here to, in a way, prove the point that they need confidential funds. But I don't want to get too technical about it. But I think people are also, in a way, confused what confidential funds are really for. Cybersecurity is not something that
They're not for renewing an antivirus, just to be very clear.
you need confidential funds for if you have the appropriate budget. For example, one of the news articles that came out was the PhilHealth procurement was unable to acquire antivirus licenses for PhilHealth, or at least that was the story. I find that a little tragic because these are things you should be able to plan for way in advance. So I'm not sure. Maybe it's just getting conflated with confidential funds.
Yeah, and then even the antivirus question itself is not necessarily what stops these hackers. It's there to protect your web traffic. It's there to protect employees if they click on stupid links. But a threat actor can take advantage of your system anyway, even with an antivirus. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't renew your antivirus. But it's just one of many layers of protection.
All right. Now, another question, Dominic, is why can local hackers do this? Is our government, how would you say it, software? Is it, it's not complex enough? It's not strong enough? How could, let's say, a Medusa ransomware that you can rent, how could that actually infiltrate PhilHealth? And now you have the House of Representatives. So the question is there something wrong with the software the government uses?
Yeah, you have for vulnerabilities because this is something that cybersecurity people should be able to investigate. Number one, it's not just technology. Obviously, updating your antivirus, that's important, but it's also about people. For example, the employees of PhilHealth or these other agencies might have accidentally clicked some malware or attachment on an email, and that's enough for an attacker to come in. And then third, I hate to simplify it, but sometimes weak passwords can just be the culprit. You know, all of these platforms have viruses, installed, and if people are unable to secure their web servers with appropriate passwords, any attacker can come in. So it's not just purely technology; it's also people.
Okay, but then if it's people, then it seems that that's easier to blame. I mean, a person is bound to press on a link, but it shouldn't like take the house down. That's the question.
I think one thing to remember is I don't other than cybersecurity experts themselves. So let's divide the people question into two. Number one, for the vast majority of employees, I don't think they are cyber ready in the same way we would be ready, let's say, for an earthquake or a flood. You know, we do fire drills. I don't think the average company does cyber drills, and these things are tantamount to disasters if you think about it. The second is, and I think the ICT has echoed it a lot. I don't think there's enough cybersecurity expertise in every agency, notwithstanding the presence of a DICT. I think this should be a permanent role in every organization, so that you can have immediate response. The same way you would have a fire marshal, for example, or the way you would have a fire extinguisher, just in case. There has to be a first responder in every organization.
Yeah, all these hacker types, I've been attending these security conferences. Yeah, they're all about, they do their drills, they do their penetration testing, capture the flag kind of thing. But, that takes care of maybe one, at most 5% of any employee base. The 95% are completely clueless about it. And if the 5% are not able to respond to the 95%'s blunders, then you just capture as many flags as you want. Doesn't really fix anything. So anyway, just thought to put that in.
And I don't think we don't have enough of those people.
All right. Now, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. he has already expressed frustration as to why this is happening. Several government entities, one after the other. What action can the government take?
Okay, let's break it down. First, education, because this is something that everyone should be familiar with. I doubt people get any cybersecurity briefings upfront, although there have been attempts by NPC and the DICT. That should be mandatory. The same way people get briefings, again, about disaster preparation, disaster recovery, business continuity. That should be basic. Second is, I think there has to be an audit of every government portal that's accessible via the internet. I think that's one emerging common pattern with all of the hacks. All of them have some sort of either public service portal or maybe a website that people can access information from. For example, the PhilHealth member page. Every time you have something exposed to the internet, that's automatically going to be a target of attack. Third, in terms of policies, other than the Data Privacy Act and the Anti-Cybercrime Law, and these are laws that come into effect after a breach has already happened or after a crime has already been committed. I think we need more rules and policies that are more preventive in nature. How do we set up, structures and systems that look to monitor and detect? Cybersecurity is not a new term. It's been around for some time, but it seems like we keep learning it from scratch again and again. And then obviously, my organization is called Data Ethics PH. We set it up 3 years ago precisely because I don't think people put enough value on data. Like, for example, across all of the hacks, one of the common recurring data that's leaked is personally identifiable information. And that's really the currency for hackers because with that, you can do identity theft, you can do financial crime, especially if people get the trifecta. They have your ID, they have your email, and they have your phone number. With those three pieces of information, they can take over your digital life. So that's, I think, the most important thing. And people don't seem to put mind to that. It's easier for people to fear some of these galactic issues like, state-sponsored cyber attacks and
Somebody actually started saying that we're being attacked by a government or some other, you know, party outside the Philippines. So that might actually be possible, but either way, the real problem is at the point of vulnerability. It doesn't take a state-sponsored hacker to come in and guess your password is admin123 or some stupid thing like that, or send emails to your employees with malware embedded in it. Yeah, I think it's just this risk asymmetry. We like to fear big things when the issue is really something very small.
and etc. But ultimately, it boils down to how do you secure your personal data, and that's something we need to put focus.
And I think you make a very good point, Dominic, because when the PhilHealth and the PSA were hacked, in a way they kept diminishing just the value of the information, right? When they're asked what kind of information was released, they would just say it would be just employee IDs, employee data, names, etc. Like really, it was nothing.
Yeah, I mean, some of the more common, I won't call it an excuse, but it sounds like some a way of downplaying the incident.
Yeah.
The data is not sensitive. The data is old. If your birthday was leaked, your birthday will never change. So it's always out there. Your cell phone numbers, I have had my cell phone number for 20 years. It's old data technically, but it's still damaging to me. So I think that needs to, I don't think it's an excuse. I think it's a culture that we need to change. That data is very valuable, especially this is pure speculation, but the defacement of the House of Representatives could easily have been a password that was leaked in another hack. Maybe one of those passwords was the web admin of the House of Representatives, something like that. The moment you have that data out there, someone will use it. So in this case, they made fun of the government, and they continue to do that. This is what it can be damaging to us because we're at risk as our personal data as.
And one thing government either fails to communicate properly or maybe doesn't even realize is the data is the currency. Data is what these hackers are using, or the leak of that data, to weaponize that against the government. In other words, threatening that, hey, look, your citizens' data is out there. They're going to suffer all these cyber attacks. It's because of your incompetence. That's what that's the flag that they're trying to wave in front of government. And unfortunately, if your government is either unaware or too dense that PII is the currency, these guys are gonna have to find the. I hope they don't, but they're gonna have to find a more extreme, attack just to attract attention. Unfortunately, we're the collateral damage. We are that data being leaked.
Citizens is being used as the weapon to drive a point, and I don't feel comfortable about that.
Okay. All right. Now, do you believe that the government or government entities right now, our data protection system is obsolete?
It's more
I
of
think
data
it's a
mindset.
combination of there's not enough enforcement because the knee-jerk reaction is, oh, we need more rules. Even I'm advocating more policies, but there's actually a lot of existing processes that are already in place. Even with, let's say, the most obvious agencies like the National Privacy Commission, the DICT. You also have the CICC that looks into cybercrime. You have the AFP, the NBI, the PNP. They all have cyber labs. So I don't think it's a lack of capability. Maybe it's really more a lack of coordination. And again, if you're not cyber aware, like for example, if you were attacked, Karen, or suddenly you found someone using your credit card, I'm sure there's always going to be this maybe 1 hour of deer in the headlights. I don't know what to do. And this is something we need to change. We need to know the first three steps we need to do if we suffer a cyber attack. Same thing with companies as well.
That feedback just kills it.
All right. Well, I think on that note, we can continue this discussion. I mean, within the week or next week, because I think we'll have more issues to discuss by then. I know you have an event today, and I do hope we have better signal next time. But I want to thank you, Dominic Ligot, for joining me today, the founder of the cybersecurity experts group, Data Ethics Philippines. Dominic Ligot, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and there you have it. Um, Again, very frustrating having to wrestle with signal problems and feedback. I mean, come on, ANC. You guys know you should know your audio. I didn't have any problems with Alvin El Chico and Doris Bigornia. Same setup, or maybe I needed these headphones, which they actually asked me to remove before the show started. Well, those are the risks. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that reaction video, and yeah, hope we're gonna do another one as this situation unfolds. I mean, to be honest, it's a train wreck at the moment in slow motion, and unfortunately, the collateral damage is our data. So keep your data safe. Follow what we've been discussing. Maybe we need to do another podcast about cybersecurity vulnerabilities. I mean, that's really the bottom line, right? Okay, so until then, I'll catch you in the next video.